Sounds good. How are you doing?
Alrighty, I feel like everyone's kind of sitting down. We're all settled in. So welcome y'all to GeoClub. This is our second meeting of the semester and our first one in person, thankfully. So we want to get started. As y'all know, a lot of us are actually going to be graduating and can't do another full term. So we have basically all of our positions open. So some of the officers are going to be around for an extra semester, and we're going to make sure it's like a nice, smooth transition. We have a lot of things set up for y'all if y'all are going to decide to run. We will be doing those elections later in like end of March, early April. But it's time to start thinking about that now if you really want to be doing it, because it looks great on resumes. I'm not even gonna lie. And we get to do a lot of cool things. We get to go a lot of places, you know, trips and such. So, but yeah, those are the positions that we have open at the moment.
Can I
So
say something on that?
Yeah.
So students will ask me to write letters of recommendation for graduates. And what I generally say is, tell me how we've interacted. And if you're an officer of GeoClub, you can say that, and that is powerful. Whereas when someone just says, well, I took your class, it's like, okay, I've just got a one line letter of recommendation that I can write for this person.
yeah, Stern is the sponsor for GeoClub, so you will interact with him. I would hope so. All right, and now we have our guest speaker, Gary Cocke. He's going to be presenting the scope of sustainability. There you go.
All right. Thank you. Thank y'all for having me. My name is Gary Cocke. I'm the Director of Sustainability at UT Dallas. And so I'm going to get into the scope of what that means, and then hopefully what that can mean for you as a student, how you can interact with the Office of Sustainability. Just out of curiosity, who here feels like you have a working definition of sustainability? How would you define it? I'm sorry? A practice is able to continue indefinitely. That's a good definition. Anybody else have variations of a definition for what it means to you? Good. So yeah, there's a lot of definitions out there, and it's one of these fields that I think it's always good to define what it means. Oftentimes, people use a variation of what you said is meeting the needs of the present without sacrificing the needs of tomorrow. But then that's always a little bit nebulous as well. And so what I do is I define what sustainability means in higher education at UTD according to a standard. And then we're going to talk about the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which I have displayed on the screen up here as the definition for global sustainability. And really, I utilize this as a value set and a way that we can provide context to the education that you're receiving as students. But to work towards this bigger scale, it's important for me to talk about where we began. And so the Office of Sustainability at UT Dallas began in 2010, about the same time that many universities across the country began their offices of sustainability, due in large part to student advocacy for university commitments around the environment. And the Office of Sustainability at UT Dallas to this day reports through facilities and economic development. It's rooted in operations. It's, however, growing to meet the expanding scope of what sustainability should be in higher education. It's really, I think, a great place for us to start with our roots in operations, because that allows us to make good progress with what we do. We've composted over 500,000 pounds of food waste. We have a comprehensive recycling program where we do our best to recycle even the items that you can't place into the blue bin. We collect plastic film throughout campus, disposable masks. We even found a provider that can recycle those during COVID. We recycle our batteries. We recycle our toner cartridges. Essentially, if we can, we do our best to recycle it. We have over 15 acres of pollinator habitat, 3 monarch way stations, over 8,000 trees, 1.28 million square feet of LEED certified space, and 8 LEED certified buildings. So it's really a great place for us to have the roots of a sustainability program, because For us to be able to reflect the values of sustainability and walk that talk is important for us to be able to have credibility as we go into classrooms and into co-curricular spaces and talk about the values of sustainability. However, the scope of sustainability has changed since 2010. And so I really orient my work according to the standard that's provided by the Association for the Advancement of Sustainability in Higher Education. And I measure our sustainability program according to the sustainability tracking assessment and rating system that they administer. Needs to be updated. Over 1,000 institutions measure their sustainability programs according to this standard that I'll call the STARS report. There are 4 broad categories where we need to be impacting sustainability. So there's operations where we have our roots, but then we also need to be talking about sustainability and making sure that we have opportunities for student engagement and public engagement. Then in the academics area, we need to be having sustainability in our curriculum and in our research. And then in administration, we need to make sure that we have policies that make sure that we're providing an accessible, affordable, and sustainable environment for our campus. Within these 4 broad categories, there's 63 specific credits that are weighted according to their impact. It's a hugely labor-intensive reporting process, but the point of this slide is that sustainability really needs to be something that is across the university, and it is something that is really, it's measurable. And so oftentimes these very ethereal and nebulous definitions, we are able to define exactly what that should mean in higher education. And we at the University of Texas at Dallas have a fully scoped Office of Sustainability that is growing and growing out of those operational roots to be more impactful in student engagement, academics, and so on.
Real quick, you can full screen if you'd like.
Cool.
Sorry about that.
No worries. All right, so with that growing scope of sustainability, the Office of Sustainability has adopted a mission statement and a vision statement that aims to fulfill this. And then as we look at those 4 categories, I'll be the first to acknowledge that we're actively trying to grow our efforts. However, we also have a lot that we can be proud of too. I mentioned a lot of these things, but we have 1.28 million square feet of LEED space. I wish that I was able to put us toe to toe against other universities. But that's an impressive number. If you aren't familiar with the LEED certification process, it talks about everything that you can do from energy efficiency and water efficiency to how you source your materials to the infrastructure for recycling, access to public transit. And you quantify everything that you're doing to prioritize sustainability in your built environment. UTD is committed to building LEED certified spaces. And it's something that we've really excelled at, especially as we are a quickly growing university. We prioritize to grow sustainably in our built environment. And we have one of the things that I'm proud of. My mother is actually a retiree from UTD, and she retired back in 2002. And so she comes to campus and she barely recognizes it. The buildings have changed. And then another thing that's changed is we have planted thousands of trees on this campus since that time. And so I challenge you, just when you're walking around the campus, just envision our environment without the trees that make this a much more inviting and really a pleasant place to be a student at. We have all sorts of programs aimed at student engagement. We have a B Campus USA certification through the Xerxes Society. Xerxes Society is the organization of record for invertebrate conservation. The certification is really valuable for me as our sustainability official because it has, we have 7 commitments, but really you can put them into 2 categories. There's one which is operational. So we have an integrated pest management plan. We have a pollinator habitat plan. We have preferred plant lists for our campus, and that's how we're able to drive operational sustainability to support pollinators. And then we have all sorts of student engagement where we do butterfly flutterby events where we plant milkweed ahead of the monarch migrations. We plant all sorts of pollinator beds around campus. This year, we seeded over 7 acres of pollinator habitat on our campus. And so we're able to get students engaged in all of that by building a culture and demonstrating that students want to see these values of sustainability reflected in their built environment. That foot leads the other foot, and we're able to do more operationally too. So I really like that program. One of the things that I'll point to is we just launched an EcoHub, which if you aren't familiar with what the EcoHub is, one of your members, Caroline Moneman, is the student director of it. So you know where the new water tower is on Synergy? In that footprint right there, we have a 20,000 square foot student farm, and the basis for the soil that we are farming, that used to be our on-site composting facility. We now have a contractor that services our compost. So we took the windrow of compost that we had there, tilled it into the native soil, and created this large area for organic student farm that is for the benefit of food insecure communities, donating first to the Comet cupboard, and then secondly to the North Texas Food Bank. In that area, we also have a second apiary where we have an eco rep that is in charge of our B Campus USA certification. She administers our Honey Helpers program. And so we get students into the apiary to help install hives, maintain the hives, harvest honey, bottle honey, and then we sold honey right before Christmas. We sold out in about 3 hours. So really a fun program. The money that we get from selling honey goes back to support the EcoRep student project. So that's a really great way to get involved. We have 85 student farmers at the EcoHub right now. We aren't actively recruiting, but we will be recruiting again going into summer and fall semesters. So if that sounds like something you're interested, consider this your invitation to come give service at the EcoHub. We also have a sustainability service honors program, and so you can find information about that on the sustainability website. I'm going to speak at length about the sustainable development goals, but whenever you look at the different dimensions of sustainability, I think of sustainability as having environmental, social, and economic dimensions. And oftentimes, if you're giving service in the community, there's a relation to sustainability that you may not even recognize. One of the sustainable development goals, for instance, is ending hunger. And so if you're volunteering with the North Texas Food Bank, you may not have gone into that service thinking of it as a sustainability service initiative, but it is because you have to talk about the environment and people together, because environmental degradation at the end of the day is happening because of the relationship that our society has with the environment as well. We have community gardens. We offer all sorts of service events. We have regular tree plantings through our Tree Campus USA certification, alternative spring breaks whenever we are allowed to take trips and there are not global pandemics that keep us from doing it. So if you aren't familiar, I also just invite all of you to go to the sustainability webpage. We have an entire tab that says get involved. There are all sorts of opportunities for students to get involved. Please do so. Consider me a resource for you as well. Reach out to me if you have specific ideas. And then as you are involved in sustainability, make sure that you work towards sustainability service honors at your graduation so that you're able to demonstrate to your future employer that not only have you walked away from UTD with a degree in your area, but you can demonstrate your values through the service that you provided with the sustainability service honors. Sustainability and administration. Really, as I'm reporting here, what we're doing is we're pointing to a lot of the things that we do at UTD with regards to our policy that kind of touch that social dimension of sustainability. And so I'm lucky to have a lot of partners where we have a faculty chaired sustainability committee. They're leading the charge right now on a single-use plastic policy that we've identified a plan that we believe is feasible. We have letters of support from student government, graduate student assembly, academic senate, and staff council. and over 1,200 signatures from students saying that they support the plan and want to see the university take action to limit single-use plastic on campus. And the goal is to hand the plan, the broad consensus, and then also account for any additional expenses or bottlenecks that the university might have in implementing, hand that over to cabinet level leadership. And I hope that we're going to have the sustainability committee lead the way in making us the first university to get single-use plastics off campus. We have a strategic plan. I point to a lot of the great work happening around diversity and equity, affordability and accessibility, as well as I report on sustainability. And then finally, in academics, we have a lot of active conversations going on in this area about how we can prioritize sustainability in academics more so. I was just speaking with Professor Stern before the class where a lot of the challenge of being in my position is simply that we need to bring together the work happening in the different departments across campus so that we have a concerted voice around sustainability. It's really my belief that issues of sustainability are going to be the challenges that your generation is going to be handed after graduation. And so my hope is that we can train the next generation of leaders to be up to the task to do better than previous generations. And so with that, we currently have 193 courses that are focused or related to sustainability according to our 2019 STARS report. 218 researchers that are working on topics focused or related to sustainability. We have our campus is a resource for researchers. I was just talking with Professor Stern about a project with a physicist faculty member that we have that he uses machine learning to take a cheap air quality sensor to make it as accurate as a very expensive EPA air quality sensor. And the idea is that we are able to deploy these sensors to make the first in the country high resolution air quality sensor network in our area. And we can deploy these sensors in areas where vulnerable communities often do not have their air quality tracked. We've deployed these in Dallas County in the Joppa neighborhood in South Dallas, and we're deploying 13 of them on our UTE campus to really lead the way in this important area. We've also worked with faculty in different areas to facilitate research with our energy use in buildings, with our biodiversity programs, things like that too. So that's always a resource for faculty to reach out on. And then I have the privilege of also teaching a class as well, where we take a deep dive on the Sustainable Development Goals, the progress and challenges in working towards sustainability goals. And then we are this semester providing habitat restoration service with the Trinity River Audubon Center. And so kind of to complement the point I was making about sustainability issues being the application of your education, through this class, I hope to give an in-depth experience on what the breadth of sustainability really includes, what student interests are related to that scope of sustainability, and then through service, give a sense of agency so that you can be a positive force for progress on these issues. So in the time that I've been here, it's been about 4 years, we were able to expand from our roots and operations to begin the good work of getting more involved in engagement, academics, and administration. We were able to achieve a gold certification for our sustainability program according to the STARS standard. And one cherry on top that I just like to brag about, and hopefully you can too. This was a total surprise to me. So this is a screen capture of the 2019 ASHE annual report. And they didn't ask me. You would think that they would ask before they just used UTE students and put them on the cover of their report. But apparently they were also proud enough of the work that we're doing at UTE to feature UTE students at one of our apiaries on the cover. And then if you happen to have friends that go to UNT or SMU or any other university in the region, just rub it in and tell them that UTD is higher, we're higher ranked than they are. So beyond just like making me feel good, what does that mean for the university? So we do have a strategic plan. It has 10 strategic themes, one of which is sustainability, which is a powerful tool for me to have in my tool belt. And then through our strategic plan, President Benson has also identified aspirational peers. So these are universities that have similar academic focus, similar student enrollment, similar geographic footprints. And then what I did was I looked at these aspirational peers, and when I began the reporting process in 2019, we were bronze, and we were competing against a bunch of gold and one almost gold university. And so with the progress that we made between 2016 and 2019, we were able to achieve gold certification by the whiskers on my chin, and then join our peers. And then the part of the message here is that by improving university efforts around sustainability, we are becoming more like the university we aspire to be. So I see really sustainability progress as imperative for the progress that we want for our university. And beyond that, the field of sustainability is becoming more prominent in higher education in general. There is industry that is becoming more keen on sustainability initiatives. It's putting out the call for students that understand sustainability, and their accreditation is also embracing sustainability more and more. So we have a lot of incentives for why we need to prioritize sustainability as a university. And I saw this in October of 2020, and the headline I thought just said everything that I have been saying about why we need to prioritize sustainability. And I'm just going to read it. This is from the National Academy of Sciences, and they're calling for colleges and universities to strengthen sustainability education programs, increasing interdisciplinarity, fostering experiential learning, and incorporating diversity, equity, and inclusion. And to me, this is something that cuts across every discipline, every major, and every aspect of the work that we perform at UTD. And so with that, I think it makes my role really important to make sure that the university departments understand the role that they have for making progress towards sustainability, and then B, to make sure that students understand that these challenges of sustainability are very relevant for their studies. We should speak directly to that while you're in college and equip you to answer these challenges as you enter the professional world after graduation. And so now we've gone from our roots and operations. We've talked about sustainability in higher education, but it's also important to understand the bigger context of sustainability as well. And so for this broader context, I point to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Just out of curiosity, who has seen these Sustainable Development Goals before? Very cool. All right. So I'm very pleased to see so many of y'all are familiar with this framework. So if you take my class, we get into the targets and the indicators and some of the minutia with regards to the highly bureaucratic UN framework. For the purposes of this lecture, I like to look at these Sustainable Development Goals as a set of challenges, a set of values, and like I said, the application of your education. They are intentionally intertwined. You aren't going to ever be able to talk about, hunger without talking about poverty. You aren't going to be able to talk about climate action without talking about affordable and clean energy. And then it also crosses across the different dimensions of sustainability. So, like I said, there's an intersection between our society and the environment. And we aren't going to be able to talk about climate action without talking about reduce inequalities, because we know that climate change is going to disproportionately harm different communities. And so it is intentionally intertwined and interconnected. It is, I think, a really great articulation of the values that we have in sustainability. And through the framework, we're able to drive progress. I'll speak a little bit about how that is effective in doing so, and there are some challenges with it as well. But what I would challenge y'all to do as students, we aren't going to take time to do it right now during this lecture, but review these 17 goals. Think of what you are drawn to. What are your top 3 goals? Which ones do you think are the most important? Spend a little bit of time then reflecting on, are these environmental issues? Are they social issues? Are they kind of economic and policy issues? Reflect on if your education is preparing you to make a difference on the issues that you care about. And if not, ask yourself if you think that perhaps it should. The reason why I point to these sustainable development goals is A, they are the best framework that we have going at the moment. They are universal, and this is important because if you look at these 17 goals, we can take SDG goal number 1, no poverty. It is universal in nature. So we are privileged to live in an affluent country, in a developed region. However, we very much struggle with poverty, but it does differ from what you would see if you're talking about poverty in sub-Saharan Africa. And the framework allows for flexibility so that different regions can address the issues as they manifest in their areas. They define sustainability holistically through environmental, economic, and social dimensions. This is important. And it is, I'll even acknowledge this with my personal progression. I'm an ecologist by training. And so what brought me to the table is my passion for the environment. And my first job in sustainability, I was working for a municipal government during a drought. And we were about half, our reservoir was about half empty at the time that I started my job. And so I was tasked with education, outreach, and policy so that we could cut our water use. And so we restricted outdoor water use to once every 2 weeks. We offered all sorts of rebates and incentives for water conservation. I went and I got my irrigation license so I could talk about outdoor water use. And we adjusted our rate structure such that water remains very cheap when you're using it wisely. And there are incentives to conserve if you are wasting water. And so through this process, I learned that you need to be able to work with people. You need to be able to appeal to people's sensibilities with your message for conservation. You need to understand motivations of the community that you're working with. And you need to understand the economic argument for sustainability as well. And so over time, I evolved to really understand and value that if we talk about the environment without addressing the social and the economic pieces of sustainability, we aren't really addressing the problem holistically. And so this framework takes all of these dimensions into account. There's 17 goals, which just actually, the fact that it's 17 and that's such a goofy number, I really like that. Nobody was just saying, I need a snappy list of 10, just give it a 7 of them. So, and with that, there are 169 targets and 232 indicators. So there are mechanisms where we are able to track the progress that we are making towards these goals for sustainability. They require policy coherence and a government-wide approach. I'd say we have some work to do in that regard, but it's important that we call for that in the framework that we are utilizing. It calls for all sectors to participate in sustainability. And so that means that we need to have government, education, nonprofit, and industry on board. And industry was actually a key partner in the negotiation for the Sustainable Development Goals. And then finally, and most importantly, is that the Sustainable Development Goals are inclusive and require participation from all subpopulations, particularly the poorest and most vulnerable. And this is, it seems that that should be just immediately apparent. However, it was not the case in previous frameworks. Previous frameworks prioritized the developed world and did not account for the priorities and needs for the developing world. The Sustainable Development Goals flip that on its head, and they prioritize the needs of the poorest and most vulnerable populations, which is very important. And so what we've done is I've actually audited our STARS report through a methodology provided by ASHE. We actually have a SDG observatory on our website. So if you're interested, I encourage you to go there, check it out, and you can click on any one of these 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and you can see what your university is doing to address poverty in academics, operations, engagement, and administration. The same is true across the board. And then we also orient our service programs through the Sustainable Development Goals. And we've classified our course listings according to the Sustainable Development Goals that they support as well. So the reason why I do what I do is because I believe, like I said, these are going to be the lens through which you apply your education. I believe that every student at UT Dallas has a role to play. I'm a STEM person, I'm an ecologist, and I have noticed in my career that as a STEM person, sometimes we think that we have the only roles in sustainability, but I always push back on that. I think that we need arts, we need humanities, we need political science, we need everybody engaged in these conversations. These issues are too big, and I would even argue too that our progress is limited more by our will to take action and our culture than we are limited by technology or policy solutions that we could be pursuing. So I especially underscore my message whenever I'm speaking to humanities, to arts, to psychology, to political science. We need to be inviting these folks to the table, making sure that we're speaking to the issues in these courses, and making sure that they're part of the solution going forward. Progress requires collaboration. And then the thing that I like to just point out is, especially teaching my class, which was very much reflection-based and service-oriented, to wrestle with these sustainability issues during a time where we're actively dealing with a global pandemic. We watched a racial justice movement, and we also had a very tumultuous political cycle where many of these sustainability issues, which I often, they felt very ethereal and abstract. We watched many of them on the front page of the newspaper across our social media screens, unfolding before our very eyes. And so I think that a lot of these issues and the importance of them came into sharper focus for a lot of people during this time. And I expect that you probably observed the same as well. With regards to what we offer at UTD to support you, I've mentioned the Sustainability Service Honors Program. This is a screen capture from the website. I do invite you all to come check it out. We offer a bunch of service partners that you can get engaged with. We do require that you register if you wish to pursue this honor, and you have to log your hours. If you receive 250 hours of service by the time you graduate, then you're eligible to receive this honor. You get some cool swag. On the east side of McDermott Library, we have the pollinator garden that we're extending down the entire length as we have different cohorts graduate. And you get to leave a sustainable fingerprint on your campus. So please check that out if that's of interest to you. We have the EcoHub again. This is a great way to learn about sustainable gardening, work with different students that have similar values as you. You can participate with the Honey Helpers program. and you can support food insecure communities and kind of work right there at that intersection of environmental and social sustainability, because that's exactly where this EcoHub exists. We do have a community garden. I invite you all to participate in that if that is more your speed. The community garden is for the benefit of the gardeners that work there. And so we do provide donation opportunities, but the mission is a little different in the EcoHub, where the EcoHub donates the produce. The community garden, we fully recognize that students may need to keep that produce themselves. The community garden, you keep the produce for yourself, and if you wish to donate it, you can. We have an EcoRep program, which allows for student workers in the Office of Sustainability to explore their interests related to sustainability more deeply. They are absolutely imperative for us to be able to do the work that we do. We have an EcoRep that is our student director for the EcoHub, an EcoRep that leads our B Campus USA certification. We have an EcoRep that's focused on marketing and outreach. They run our social media and do our newsletter. We have another EcoRep that leads our bicycle friendly university certification and works with the car on all sorts of alternative transportation projects. And then we also allow flexibility so that in addition to getting the mentoring that they receive while they lead those projects, they can also bring their own ideas and perspectives to the table and propose projects as well. We're coming up on Earth Week. So look for that the week of April 22nd. Our theme is going to be climate action. We intend to have a bunch of programs that will help to show student consensus around climate action in support of some carbon neutrality and renewable energy planning that I'm actively engaged in. I actually just today, before I came and gave this talk, I have been approved for the funding, and we are engaging with a consultant for a comprehensive renewable energy strategy. We're looking at a range between 2 and 12 megawatts of renewable energies on campus, and then off-site solutions to get to carbon neutrality for what we can't do on campus. And so I'm looking for big things through that process. And what I'm hoping we can do is kind of like I talked about, student engagement as being the leading foot to demonstrate what we need for more operational change. I'm hoping that we're going to be able to build student consensus around climate action through what we're doing at Earth Week. I've mentioned the Sustainability Committee as well. As I'm sure you're all just gonna like dial up my website right after this, we do have a tab for the Sustainability Committee. It's faculty chaired. The role of this committee is to advise the university on cross-departmental issues related to sustainability. Like I said, we've been really focused on the issues of single-use plastic for a while, and I think that we're about to get this across the finish line over the spring semester. The meetings are open. You are welcome to attend as a student, and if you're interested in being a student representative, student government does appoint those representatives. So if you ever wanted to reach out to them and voice your interest about being a student representative, I'd invite you to do that as well. And then finally, student orgs. In addition to the EcoReps and the EcoHub and the Honey Helpers and all the things that are directly affiliated with the Office of Sustainability, who in here is actually an active participant in ECO? Do we have any? So y'all should definitely get involved. They are a huge and active student organization. ECO is an acronym. It's the Environmental Conservation Organization. And they host all sorts of service, educational, and outreach events for student sustainability. They work very closely with the Office of Sustainability, and we're actually going to be working with them over the course of this semester to partner and affiliate with the National Audubon Society, which will be able to provide sustainable funding, resources, and a national network for ECO as well. Student government has a green initiative, which provides a small amount of funding for student sustainability projects. We have another student group that is Commons for Better Transportation. They're advocating for more options for alternative transportation on campus, and are a really great group. And there's various other sustainability related organizations across campus. So as you reflect on those sustainable development goals that call to you, I would just encourage you to go and look at the student boards that are offered through the SOC and find the groups that are working in the areas that you're interested in. And then with regards to where we're going, I have the privilege of working in a job where I half make the plans and drive change. And then I also maintain the bandwidth so that when good ideas come my way, that I can partner and collaborate for those good ideas. I've mentioned a lot of these already. We have really interesting projects in the works to support sustainability research going forward. I can't tell you how excited I am to make progress towards carbon neutrality for the university. We will continue to build upon the progress that we have through B Campus USA and student support for native biodiversity projects. We're just getting our feet beneath us with our bicycle friendly university certification, but I'm participating in Richardson's. They're doing a bicycle and pedestrian master plan where UTD is going to be participating in that. We've got the DART rail station coming in 2024. I'm working with the Cocke for transit-oriented design around that rail to make sure that we have access to and from campus, to make sure that we are right-sizing parking, that we are providing access to the different points along the line in a reasonable way to our students. So just it's a very fun time to be working in sustainability. It's an exciting time for you to be a student here, because I think that things are moving quickly where you're going to be seeing a lot of progress across your campus that you can hopefully point to and be proud of as you become an alumni. With that, I believe that what I can do, as long as we have time, is I can take any questions that the group might have.
So maybe you already stated it, but I was wondering if you could just remind me one more time. Like, so with considering all this, what would if you were to sum up a maybe 1-2 sentence definition of sustainability in this context, what would it be?
I would think of it in 2 scales. So when I'm talking about it, I just at the university level. So our role as a university is to educate the next generation of leaders to the sustainability issues they will face, and then to apply our expertise in answering the sustainability questions in our research labs. And so that is the way that I look at it in higher education. Whenever I look at it globally, it's how can we maintain the environment while prioritizing social justice, especially for the most vulnerable communities.
Okay.
I know you probably give talks, but I was just wondering, how else do you educate, faculty and students on campus about the office and about these programs that actually exist? Like, how do you raise awareness for that?
We have a monthly newsletter, and so when you go to the webpage, please subscribe to that. That's going to be the best way to keep up to date with the details of the different initiatives. We're active on Instagram, so follow us there. EcoReps have their own student page, which is really fun and interesting for y'all to follow. I do give lots of these talks throughout campus. We have Earth Week, we have service events, and then I'm always open. Like whenever there's a special invitation like this, I'd be happy to work with the faculty department. I try not to say no to many invites.
So I actually had a recent conversation about like recycling and how like we used to, like as a country, we used to like outsource our trash to China, like for them to recycle it, because they benefit off that. And so like, yeah, you recycle, like how did y'all get to like the point where you knew like 100% like things are being recycled, like the integrity of like that system?
It's in the contract, and then I audit them is the shortest answer to it. But I've made their life a little uncomfortable on occasions where I've woken up and, when the trash trucks are on campus before many other people are, followed them around. And then I followed them to the processing facility, and it is in our contract that our waste handler is responsible for collecting our recyclables, sorting them, and then the important part is taking them to market. And they're legally obligated to notify us if there are issues with doing so. And to dot my I's and cross my T's, I have followed their trash trucks around. And then I also touch base because, it's always good to have a paper trail I want to ensure that there's been nothing that is disrupting the markets, preventing you from selling the commodities. And so through that, I try to hold them accountable. But you're right in pointing out the flaws in recycling. I agree. And so the recycling system was really, it was set up to go single stream out of convenience. So it was much more convenient for people to say, hey, put everything in this blue bin and we'll take care of it all for you. But then what happened is they were shipping all of these materials to developing countries, and they were being sorted through, and many of them were not making it to market, especially whenever you're talking about plastics. That was a big issue where plastic producers were putting recyclable symbols onto their materials whenever facilities weren't really able to take them to market or sort them. And so it was from its inception a very flawed system. However, recycling is obviously also a very important part of the solution. So like with what we're trying to do on campus is accountability for our waste haulers. I've breezed past one of the bullet points. I'm actually pretty stoked about this waste tech bullet point. I found a sensor that gives me a dashboard in real time, and it tells me how full all of our bins are. It allows me to track our diversion rate in real time, and I can get a heat map and right size and make sure that we aren't having trucks come onto campus to serve pedestrian flow, emit carbon, and do all of this whenever it's not necessary. So it's kind of an all hands on deck to just make sure that we're holding people accountable.
Okay, that's really cool. To follow that up, like I live on campus, like I have my aunt has her own campus. Like, can I bring because I kind of like stop sorting things because just in the back of my mind, like goes to the same place to the landfill. Like, should I start sorting and can I take it somewhere on campus?
Yes. So as a student, you have access. We have recycling bins throughout, and so you don't need to sort if it's paper, cardboard, plastic, glass, aluminum, all the things that you put into the regular bin at home. That's the way it goes into our bins on campus. Then we also have separate collections for plastic film, for electronics and things like that. And you're welcome to bring those to campus as well. Just make sure if you go to the sustainability website, which I'm clearly plugging really hard. I didn't mean to, but I am. We have a recycling locator tool too. And so you can go there, you can find our locator tool and you can say, hey, I need to get rid of some batteries, and you can find out where you can take your batteries. Yes.
One of the points you're mentioning is like over 200 researchers on campus working towards sustainability goals and projects. Is there a location where like undergrads or prospective graduate students can see what, like for those opportunities?
For the time being, I do not have it publicly facing. That was for reporting purposes. But I think that going forward with some coordination from the provost office and the research office, that will be something that's in the future.
Okay, don't really have a ton of more time for any more questions. Is there anywhere that people who still have questions can contact you to reach you to ask?
Yes. So here's my email. I'm clearly keen on my website right now. But like I said, I am a resource for you as a student. So consider this your invitation to reach out if you have questions or ways that you want to get involved. Please just let me know. Thank you all for having me.
Thank you.
Things first. I will go ahead and send his email into our group chats and on our socials, so y'all can contact him. As you know, LinkedIn with like the video and all that sort of stuff that I usually announce. Second off, so Mr. Cocke mentioned LEED certification. Keep an eye out because GeoClub will be offering this semester again a green associate certification opportunity. And so, yeah, we'll announce more details of that a little bit later. We'll be offering the self-paced one, but realistically, we do need to have, we will be setting some limits on when we can actually, you know, when we have to be done with it, which will probably be towards the either end of summer or the end of the semester. It shouldn't be too bad. I'm actually currently taking it, so if you have any questions, you can ask me. I might not have answers for you, but I will find them. But yeah.
Can I actually supplement real quick?
Sure.
We have an institutional membership to the U.S. Green Building Council, which administers the LEED program. That should get you discounts on study materials and for exams. So
That would be great to-
domain email, you should be able to set it up yourself.
Perfect. Yeah. All right.
All right, so there,
Sorry.
okay, yeah, there you go. So tomorrow we're going on our Turner Falls workshop. Seats were very limited, but yeah, we are going over there to and Dr. Leah from the University of Oklahoma, she's gonna lead the workshop, and it'll be tons of fun. And I hope next trips you guys all can come. And yeah, it's typically very fun and very I think it's a very good learning opportunity. And also I'd like to add, like I saw some participants join later, so if you haven't signed up yet, there's a sign-in sheet at front, so please sign up because we are having a winner giveaway at the end of the meeting. So just where one participant will get mineral by the prize. So yeah, and we are starting 7 a.m. tomorrow from the ROC parking lot, and hopefully we'll be getting back around 4 or 5. So yeah, and
Lunch will be provided or not?
yes, lunch will be provided. After the workshop, we'll go to somewhere and then have lunch, and yeah, it will be covered by you.
If you have already done paperwork for the Turner Falls trip and you are not in our chat, please let me know because I have to add you into that. I believe I have everyone. Also, I don't think anyone in this room, but if you haven't signed up to partner yourself with a driver for the trip, please do so because I think I have one spot left in my car if the last I checked. So if you're like one of, I think like the 2 people who haven't done it, please do that.
Okay, so on the 26th of this month.
Sorry, my bad.
We're planning on going to the planetarium. I'm gonna put out a poll on our group meet to see who's interested, but it's covered by GeoClub. We'll have lunch while we're out there. It'll probably be an afternoon trip, anywhere from 2 to 6. I guess we'll pick the time later, but lunch is gonna be on us. We're gonna be up there for like 3 hours. It's like a 45-minute drive. We'll carpool. Bring your friends if you're interested in bringing a friend, a +1. They don't have to necessarily be associated with UTD. Yeah, so look forward for the information for that coming up.
Okay, so Texas Hydrogeo workshop. So from April 1st to 3rd, we are going to this workshop that's, I think it's in Bernie, Texas. It's a huge workshop where like universities from all over Texas come and join in. And there are like plenty of really interesting and fascinating classes. I remember taking a class on like drone photography and like LiDAR as well. So they actually show you how LiDAR is being taken and everything. And it's really awesome and really fun. We go over there, stay there, camp there for 2 nights in our own like group. So there are like other universities as well. So I remember going to each some of the other campgrounds and like socializing. So it's really fun. And they provide lunch and we'll also provide snacks and everything. So please make sure to register before February 14th. Just let us know if you're interested to go. And yeah,
I believe February 14th is Monday.
yeah, it's Monday. So
Just to add to that, if you are interested, GeoClub will cover the fee. We will pay the 55. But after February 14th, if you still say you're interested, then you will have to pay the remaining. So I think after February 14th, it's 65. So you will pay the remaining 15. After that, if you say by April 1st, then you will pay the remaining 25. But please sign up. It's a great opportunity to learn and just have fun. And scholarships, my favorite topic. So I don't know about y'all, but I like free money. It really helps me with my school. It helps me with calming things down. So these are just 3 scholarships that are already open that's really beneficial to you. And for most of y'all who did join the Dallas Geological Society when we did offer up memberships, this scholarship is worth $5,000. So I highly encourage you to apply because it will be really helpful. And they have made things easier because they are using a universal application. So once you fill out just that one application, it sends out to over hundreds different applications, and you can get 5,000, you can get 10,000, you can get 10. Free money is free money. And another tidbit that I've seen really helpful is that you guys should please check your emails because Professor Lumley sends tons of resources. He sends scholarships, internships, programs, summer camps, all just to your email. So hint, type in scholarship in your email and you will see literally over 20 just from this past winter break. Exaggerate, but probably 20. So yeah, and then if you guys are also aware of any scholarship as well, please let me know, let the club know, because I mean, give everybody a free opportunity to try and get free money, and you never know, you may really help somebody out that day.
Somebody also sends some fun little videos and articles to read sometimes too. So
Fun to read. And internships, fun as well. So it is really highly beneficial to you as students in university to have an internship under your belt because it exposes you to the world that you're going to be in after you graduate. Nobody is going to stay in college forever, or at least I hope not. But at some point you will leave and you're going to be in the work experience, whether it's the industry, academia, or the field, whatever. You're going to be out in that world, and it is helpful to have some of that field already under your belt while you're in school, so you can get the mentorship of an actual field person and then still have the advice of your college professors. So currently, these are some internships that are currently still open, and all the links are here. All these links and scholarship links will also be in your GroupMe. And also, again, check your email, because apart from Professor Lumley, there are other departments on campus that always share internships that are available. And if you are aware of any internship, or because you never know, maybe you have an internship already, or you know of one, you can share it to somebody else that makes somebody stay. So please, if you're aware of any internship and you want to share to other people, email me, email anybody on Instagram. Sorry, not anybody on Instagram. Our accounts on Instagram, and we will post it here and share to the entire GeoClubs community. And I also encourage you as well to join our socials, because we have a huge alumni base that's always looking for our students. So join us. And to jump on that as well is LinkedIn. So I don't know how many of you guys actually have a LinkedIn account. It may be one, it may be none, whichever one. I just want you to know that it is never too late to start. There's no, I know people are like, oh, I don't know people, I don't want to just have zero connections. Do not feel that fear, because everybody started from zero. Some people could go from 0 to 500 in one day, yes, but some people can have 10 for 2 years. As long as you are actually starting, you are on the right track. And LinkedIn, not just LinkedIn, because there's so many resources, but LinkedIn is really well known, and it's really helpful. Sorry. It's really helpful in putting your foot out there and connecting to the world, because so many people use LinkedIn. And Katie will graciously show us hers.
So this is mine. It's not the best, but
it's something.
you take a lot of skill quizzes and such, and posting a little bit. You want to add as many little crucial things as you can.
Yeah.
But
there's nothing that's too little to put on. You can't say oh, I was I just helped out with Girl Scouts. It has nothing to do with my actual degree. No, it's somebody who see your actual degree path and they'll list out everything to you and be like, you have all the resources I wanted. Maybe you're doing, I don't know, maybe you did something in sustainability, maybe you did something with oil and gas, maybe you're also a math tutor, maybe you also did political science. These are all benefits that somebody could talk to you about and be like, you're exactly what I'm looking for. But you have to put yourself out there in some aspects to actually be doing, because if you're lucky, maybe someone just hand you a job just by seeing, but 99% chance that's not gonna happen. So you need to try and put yourself out there and talk to people, socialize. This is a really good thing. You're coming to club meetings, you're meeting new people. From here, other memberships, you talk to more people and it's really helpful.
So I got something to add to that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm a JSON student and they make us take 3 business communication classes, and basically all 3 classes are LinkedIn workshops. They cannot stress how important LinkedIn is to JSON. You can get free certificates if you sign up for a student website on there. They have like thousands and thousands of different communication, leadership certificates, like everything under the sun that you can get for free. And there's a lot of job links that you can get through there, a lot of internships that connect you directly to the employer. One thing that I can't stress enough is like networking, and networking is so important to get a job and get an internship, and they stress that so much in JSON. You're so much more likely to get a job through networking if you reach out to somebody on LinkedIn than if you were just to apply directly to the application itself. So it is a really good website to use for job hunting. Just in general, you don't have to post on there or anything. Just have a website and look on the LinkedIn videos that show you how to make the website. How to make your profile the way it needs to be for employers to connect to you the right way. So I would just, it's a good resource. I would look into it.
Yeah. And to add, if you have no idea at all how to work or you don't know where to start, the Career Center on campus literally offers appointments for LinkedIn. So you literally just go to the Career Center, schedule an appointment, and they'll go through everything. They'll actually help you make your count from summary to certificates. You will tell them your story. They'll guide you like, oh, that's great for this, or you can fine tune this. And there's no limits on how many appointments you can make. You can make an appointment today, tomorrow. You can come as many times as you want, and each time you're going to be really happy to have it. So create your LinkedIn.
They also have resume workshops.
That's it.
Use the CMC. I don't think the CMC is pushed out enough to the other schools besides JSON because it's in the JSON building. But use the CMC if y'all want like opportunities to learn how to be a better professional to get hired. It's really useful.
All right, so
Yes.
2 things. We've got the GSA South Central meeting coming up in a month. I mentioned it before. I'm not sure why the club isn't interested in it. The second thing is that the record of this club since I started the Facebook page in 2006 is on Facebook. So you guys will have your social media. You'll graduate. That social media may or may not translate into that. Please join the GeoClub Facebook group. That's the thing that's going to carry forward.
I was gonna get to that actually. So obviously we have most of our social up here. I forgot to add our give polls, which is we do some volunteer opportunities sometimes. So then we add that to the club, so we actually look like we're doing something, which we are. But the Facebook is a really great place to network with alumni, as Dr. Stern kind of mentioned. Also, we hammer this in every time. I'm sorry, not sorry though. So please register for GeoClub on Presence. We have to have you all on there so we can go do things with you because we have to file paperwork and everything. And if you are not a member of our club, the SOC does not like that. And so it makes it a lot harder to take people who are not in our club. So please just do that. There's a little, I often send a link, and I add some of our documents and all that sort of stuff on our Presence account too. So just click that little join thing, and that makes our lives a lot easier, and you able to go on our trips.
All right, so as it was mentioned earlier, we have a sign up sheet down there. So if you haven't signed in, please do that. That's the only way you're going to be able to win the mineral. We have a galena on dolomite from Sweetwater Mine, Missouri. And I really like this. It's a really nicely formed cluster. You'll see it in just a sec. But yeah, if you haven't signed in, go and do that. And we'll be drawing a number in just a second.
Wait, that's the outcome. Where, how do, I want to mute this. There we go. We have the numbers. Time for the giveaway.
Last call, if you haven't signed in, please do so. Anyone? No, we're good? Cool.
Okay.
So
15.
15.